For today's webinar, Powering Forward, key takeaways from 2024 and what's next for DER in 2025. My name is Erin Mahan, and I handle membership for SunSpec Alliance. This will be an interactive webinar, open to questions from the audience. If you unmute yourself to speak, please mute yourself again afterwards to ensure clear audio quality for everyone listening. We will have ample time for questions at the end of the webinar and plenty of time for discussion during. You will receive slides at the end of this webinar, so don't worry if you miss something. All right. Next slide, thank you. All right, just a quick reminder, all SunSpec meetings follow the SunSpec antitrust policy and intellectual property provisions that are laid out here. We want to emphasize that market participants and their teams should not use these meetings to engage in any behavior that violates antitrust laws. Additionally, any confidential or proprietary information should not be discussed in open sessions. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out for clarification. So in today's session, our Executive Director, Dylan Tansey, will review major milestones from 2024, discuss some key regulatory updates, and give you a preview of what's on the horizon for DER in 2025. We will also feature Kudrat Kaur, engineer to the SunSpec Alliance, and Tom Tansey, chairman of the SunSpec Alliance and founder of DER Security. They are going to break down the latest in cybersecurity and DER storage. This webinar is a great preparation for anyone attending one of the most important solar PV events of the year, the InterSolar Energy Storage Summit North America. Please check out their website and, if you can attend, use our discount code at registration. We will have a booth and some swag, and we will be happy to chat with you. Now, over to you, Dylan.
Great. Thanks so much, Erin, for that intro. And we will be sharing as well a link in the chat for anybody to book a meeting with us, both at the meeting at InterSolar in February, as well as in the intervening time. We're very eager to connect one-on-one with each of you. A lot of what we're going to be covering today is recap from our SunSpec annual member meeting that happened just over a month ago. On December 4th and 5th in La Jolla, San Diego, California. And that was a very, it was a fantastic, powerful meeting with about 50 of our member organizations. And we spent on each of these topics, anywhere from 60 minutes to 2 hours on these issues and on these topics. And the overwhelming consensus was that was nowhere near enough time to really dive into the depths and that each of these topics really merit. So our objective here today with this 1 hour webinar is to tease out the most kind of important topics, let you know what we're thinking about, what you should be thinking about as well, and give you some prompts for you to reach back out to us and, like I said, schedule some meetings with us. Hopefully, we'd love to see you in person at InterSolar Energy Storage North America. These are very, very deep topics that we could spend hours and hours on. We could do full multiple day workshops on each of these topics. So I really, I'll seek to be brief, just let you know the most key important takeaways, and hopefully prompt future discussions that we can have one-on-one. Also just wanted to say, I myself have been displaced from the Los Angeles fires. My apartment hasn't burned down, but I know that this is an issue that's impacting a ton of people. So I hope that everybody here is being safe. If you're on the road, thank you for making it here. We appreciate it. And just stay safe out there and our heart goes out. Hopefully we'll get things back on track in that LA area here as quickly as possible. So I know I'm eager to get home. So starting with the kind of core founding topic for the SunSpec Alliance, the founding specification, founding standard communication protocol for SunSpec, the thing that we got started on back in 2009, talking about SunSpec Modbus. So we'll be focusing on changes and updates that occurred in the most recent year, 2024. And so starting kind of at the highest level in 2024, based on a wealth of experience testing internally, testing with our members, testing with our network of authorized test labs, we were able to learn quite a bit going through all these different product certifications, testing scenarios related to IEEE 1547, which became mandatory, and the vast majority of grid-tied inverters obtained their UL 1741 SB mark. And simultaneously, of course, we were testing and utilizing the SunSpec Modbus interface. And with any and all new certification type program, you're always uncovering small issues, ambiguities, and points that need additional clarification so that everybody can be on the same page. So starting again at the highest level, we did convene the SunSpec Modbus work group in 2024 to resolve some of these issues that were uncovered and improve the SunSpec Modbus certification program, and particularly around the SunSpec Modbus for 1547. Our lead engineer, Kudrat Kaur, is on the meeting. Kudrat, I do invite you just to spend a minute or two, if you're able to, just provide a quick summary of some of these updates and improvements that we made to the basic SunSpec Modbus spec.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. So yeah, as Dylan mentioned, we had a SunSpec Modbus work group last year to basically work on updating our specs, multiple specs. And this change, as Dylan mentioned, came from just our internal observations, what test labs and our members had been mentioning, and also what the industry had seen. And Matt Wallace from PPL had come up with this report, and then also EPRI started another work group to discuss all these interoperability issues. And we thought that it was necessary to sort of update the specs to, one, clarify a lot of things that are already in the spec but might not be very clear for people, and also to just improve our test procedures to do more extensive testing to ensure that if someone is getting SunSpec Modbus certification, that we ensure that they are fulfilling all the requirements. So a lot of these updates were about just clarifications, making sure that the specs explicitly clarify the requirements, and then also adding new tests which adhere to all those requirements in the specs. So going forward with the new specs that have been reviewed and approved, we hope that this will help with the interoperability issue, and we will keep working on updating our specs as we go forward and as we find more issues, just to make it easier for people to be able to read and implement the protocol and the standard. Thanks.
Thanks, Kudrat. Yeah, and a couple kind of points of clarity here, because I realized I kind of just jumped right into the deep end and presupposed quite a bit of knowledge here. SunSpec Modbus is the standard method for implementing Modbus for DER. It's one of the three named communication protocols in IEEE 1547, which is the North American National Interconnection Standard that has been in place now for a number of years, and the states have now begun mandating compliance. And SunSpec Modbus is the protocol that was used by 80 to 90% of inverter manufacturers for their compliance. One other point of clarity on these updates that we made to the core SunSpec Modbus specification is that the standard itself, the SunSpec Modbus protocol itself, did not change. It really is improving clarity and ambiguities within the standard, and improving the quality of the protocol validation testing during SunSpec certification. So we'll go to the next slide. We'll dive another layer deeper, which we've already kind of teased up here. Next slide, please, Sam. Next, we're going to talk about the actual 1547 testing itself. That was the generic Modbus level. But before we do that, I do want to provide or give some recommendation or some acknowledgments of leaders in terms of adoption and deploying these standards. Like I said, upwards of 80 to 90% of grid-tied inverter manufacturers have used SunSpec Modbus for their 1547 compliance. And by virtue of all of these companies using these standards, we and they in the industry and the test labs are able to leverage these having the presence of standard communication interfaces to unlock the benefits of automation. And we're doing that in our testing programs. Our members are doing it in their own labs, and our authorized test labs are doing that in their labs as well. Of course, unlocking the full benefit of automation depends on having a fully compliant, high quality communication interface. And the companies you see highlighted here, SMA, Oztech, TriStar, Destin, Lion Energy, and Franklin WH, are the companies who have gone above and beyond and completed, in addition to their UL 41SB testing, completed the SunSpec Modbus for 1547 certification. And so wanted just to give them some acknowledgement for their exemplary performance and leadership in this area. So what we discovered, and Kudrat already alluded to this as well, with a bit of history here for you. 1547 was completed in 2018. The testing standard 1547.1 completed in 2020. The UL 1741 SB mark or SB standard was completed a couple years after that, and that's the mark people get when they get 1547. And from there, so I think it was began in 2022 or 2023 is when manufacturers were finally able to move forward and begin getting their UL 1741 SB marks. And in the early days, because we do, the standard 1547 says you must have a compliant communication interface. We were expecting a huge flood of companies coming to us to do protocol validation and get SunSpec certified before doing the SB testing to make sure that they are, in full compliance before doing the more complex and heavier lifting of the full SB, functional, electrical, and safety testing. At the time, that didn't materialize, and because we published all of these specifications and standards on the SunSpec side on an open, royalty-free basis, we kind of scratched our heads and said, oh well, maybe it's really easy and straightforward, and people are having no problem doing this, and that's why they haven't come to us. And but we discovered, very early on in 2024, after that, there were quite a few manufacturers out there who had gotten their SB mark, is that indeed our initial supposition, our opinion was that 1547.1 testing, clause 6, which is the part that uses the standard communication interface alone, is insufficient to ensure full protocol compliance. And through the help of members and test labs like Matt Wallace, I saw him registered. Matt, are you on the call today? I know I'm kind of impromptu calling on you. I'm not sure, but if he is in attendance today.
I don't
yeah, so it was discovered that, yeah, indeed our supposition was correct, in that many of the inverter manufacturers did not have really good, high quality and protocol compliant communication interfaces, really driving home the need for full SunSpec certification. And so we've been doing a ton of work, and the companies who have taken this seriously have reaped the benefits of providing and supporting fully compliant communication interfaces, and have been able to use the benefits of automated test tools to not only shorten their implementation time prior to testing, but also drive down their full 1547 testing, from initial estimates of upwards of 12 weeks, and being able to wrap that up in 1 or 2 weeks, assuming you're able to you have a high quality communication interface and leverage automation. And so that's been what we've been working on, particularly in 2024, is improving the support. We could stay on that side for a little bit more. Improving support and quality of the testing automation, our compliance documents, like we already alluded to, with clarifying ambiguities and improving the level of checks when we're doing protocol compliance testing. And so that has, as you see here, pushing forward with 1547 UL 1741, expanding the testing and tooling available, and updating and improving the core compliance documents themselves. Next slide, please. So this is all led into, because of what was discovered, that manufacturers had obtained their UL 1741 SB mark, but had not done the full protocol compliance, and having utilities and grid operators who were very eager to use these communication interfaces come to us and inform us that even with the SB mark, they can't have full reliance and confidence in the quality of a given manufacturer's communication interface. We launched in 2024 a new program called SunSpec Express Test, which enables, back a few years ago, we started up with our authorized test lab program in order for manufacturers to obtain turnkey testing to get all their electrical, functional safety, and protocol testing done at the same time. We had great success with that, particularly with IEEE 23.5 CSIP certification. Unfortunately, because of the complexity with 1547, many manufacturers did just kind of go through the bare minimum .1 testing, which, as I alluded to, was insufficient to ensure full protocol compliance. So because many of these manufacturers had already gone through the lab and had already pulled their devices out, and it's quite expensive, we've started to provide the SunSpec Express Test program only for SunSpec Modbus certification, where we will connect to manufacturers' devices remotely over the internet and perform the protocol compliance testing ourselves over the internet. And so this ensures a streamlined method for manufacturers who missed the boat initially with their SB testing to go back and quickly and efficiently ensure that they have a fully compliant communication interface as well. And so we partner with DER Security Corp to provide the testing tool. That testing tool actually did spin out of SunSpec Alliance, so it runs on the platform SunSpec Dashboard, the software platform that's included with SunSpec membership. We actually developed it under a Department of Energy contract a number of years ago, but we are a nonprofit trade alliance, not in a position to sustain software development in the absence of public grants and funding. And so Tom, who will be speaking here shortly as well, the chairman of the board for SunSpec, spun off this DER Security Corp in order to continue the development and maintenance of the test tool. And so at this stage, members of the Alliance still do get free unlimited access to the basic SunSpec SunSpec dashboard software tool. And we've issued in 2024 thousands of licenses to our members. So it's heavily in use. And the DurSec lab test platform is used for automated protocol testing as well as full lab automation for 1547 testing. And so we, of course, SunSpec, we personally use the protocol testing portion, but our members and our network of authorized test labs are also using the full lab automation portions of the software to get that end result that I mentioned before of driving down the full testing time from 12 weeks to 1 or 2 weeks. So it representing a huge time and financial saving for members and for test labs. And so during the Express Test program, in order to connect to companies' systems remotely over the internet, people who have signed up for Express Test get a temporary license of this same platform so they can do their pre-testing, and so we can control their desktop remotely and perform the testing over the internet for them to complete their SunSpec certification. So this is removing an important bottleneck from the UL 1741 test process, really providing people the opportunity to improve their communication interfaces, because we do see our utility partners and our grid operators being very, very eager to use these communication interfaces. And so even though it's something that's mandatory, even right now, it has the potential to be a competitive advantage for manufacturers looking to do business in North America, and a competitive disadvantage if you do go to market without a good high quality standard communication interface. So this is a very important program that we launched in 2024. Next slide, please. Now, I do want to give full credit and laurels as well to our fantastic network of authorized test labs. They've been great partners. I've worked really well with us and with our member companies in order to provide them with all the electrical functional safety testing as well as protocol testing. In the early days, yes, it was kind of the 1547 is a very big standard, and it can be quite complex to wrap your head around. Many people were just trying to figure out how to check that box and move forward. And so people have now done that, and now we're looking to make sure that all of these products going to market are of high quality. So I want to give recognition to all of these test labs who've been fantastic to work with and providing our members with really fantastic service on the not just functional testing, but protocol testing as well. Oops. So that's the kind of conclusion of the SunSpec Modbus portion. I'll try to speed up here so we can make sure that we have time for a Q&A and move on to some of the other topics. Like I said, everything on the SunSpec Modbus side in 1547, we could spend 16 hours doing in-depth discussion and training on that. But moving on, I want to talk a little bit about cybersecurity and highlight in particular one webinar that was hosted in 2024 on nation-state adversaries, extortionists, and insider threats. We worked with the former NSA director, Michael Rogers, former CIA analyst, Ross Young, another cybersecurity expert, Simon Chaucer, to produce this webinar. Members have access to all past webinar recordings in the SunSpec member portal. And anybody who did attend any of these meetings or any of these webinars received the recording as well. So even if you're not a member, you're able to get this recording. I wanted to highlight that webinar and quite a few others in 2024 that members can access in the member portal. And also just tying it back into InterSolar and Energy Storage North America, another really fantastic opportunity in their conference sessions and opportunities to meet with people and ourselves on the expo floor to dive into these topics as well. On the actual technical side on cybersecurity, we did complete in 2023 a device cybersecurity conformance profile and certification program. In 2024, we continued that work and developing testable cybersecurity functions and features. That the 2024 spec is currently in test status. We are actively looking to work with members to actually implement it and test these things out before we go ahead and take the final step of marking them approved. And so this moves in, encapsulates what happened in 2024 and moving into 2025 is we're continuing to work on testable compliance criteria, cybersecurity compliance criteria, so that as nation states, not just North America, but in Europe, Asia, Australia, and all over the world, as nations come out with official cybersecurity policies, that manufacturers can be sure, if they've done all these basic core things, that they're going to be able to play in any regulatory regime in the world. Now, moving on to IEEE 23.5 CSIP. This is another extremely important protocol and standard, not just for our members, but for the industry as well, and for this one of the core standards for the SunSpec Alliance. IEEE 23.5 CSIP has CSIP certification has remained strong after becoming mandatory back in, I think, 2019 or 2020. It's when California designated that as the default communication protocol. Perhaps it was even earlier because it actually preceded IEEE 1547. And the number of products coming onto the market and getting certified to the CSIP profile remains extremely high. I think we did almost 50 of them last year in 2024. Now, what has happened is 23.5 itself has been revised. And so that means CSIP needs to be revised or updated to comply with the new 23.5 standard, as well as the test procedures, and as well as just incorporating any errors or lessons learned from the initial rollout in compliance testing. So at the end of last year, the CPUC, which was the original author, the original CSIP was developed in the California Public Utility Commission working group, Smart Inverter Working Group. They opened it up to the industry to take recommendations on where the CSIP updates and CSIP test procedure updates should take place. And on December 18th, the final decision was handed down, where the core CSIP specification will be updated and overseen by IEEE, and SunSpec, which was one of the original author of the CSIP test procedures, will officially, in a more official capacity, take over the test procedures update in 2025. So this is really exciting for us. We're excited to get working on it. This is another topic where we had Gordon Lum from Key2 Systems speaking at the annual member meeting, and he spent almost 2 hours talking. And the overwhelming consensus from the participants there is that they would have loved to spend another 6 hours or so talking about this subject, going through all the history and the different forces and dynamics at play from the beginning to where we are today. So if you're curious about this, I definitely encourage you to schedule a call with us and come see us at InterSolar as well to chat. And so continuing on, there's quite a few other topics we touched on at the annual member meeting that were important for recapping for 2024 and moving into 2025. So we've already kind of touched on this, closing the compliance gaps and preparing for the 2030.5 updates with SunSpec Modbus and 23.5. Improving or continuing the work of defining testable cybersecurity compliance requirements for devices and systems to ensure that manufacturers can continue to play under any regulatory regime in the world, and addressing very serious, real issue, current cybersecurity challenges, not just being something that's out there 10 years down the line, but something that is here and happening right now on a month-to-month basis with large-scale cyber attacks happening that we all need to be taking seriously and preparing for now. What I haven't touched on yet is there's been activity in the SunSpec Alliance on the V2G side. So SunSpec standards, which are actually, so 23.5 and SunSpec Modbus have both been written into two different SAE standards, J3072 and J3068. So one of the activities going into 2025 is developing a SunSpec Modbus for J3068 profile, and this is emblematic of a significant overall trend starting from our early days of SunSpec Modbus being a de facto standard that was designed to be modular, so manufacturers could pick and choose what functions they wanted to support with the standard communication interface. We're now seeing the industry move to a profile approach where anybody looking to be in a specific market or specific device type must support some common set of standard communication, standard SunSpec Modbus models. So we're seeing that in 1547. We're seeing that with the MESA profile, Modular Energy Storage Alliance profile, seeing that with J3068 and more. So this is really raising the bar, where you could see a large discrepancy between the level of support between manufacturers to setting a common baseline for a variety of different device types within the DER system, and including vehicle grid or EVSE to EV as well. Last couple comments here before we do the looking ahead to 2025. We are also we've been working on a number of updates to the SunSpec membership program. We're leveraging AI ourselves in our own internal business and to generate new support tools for our members that you'll see we've been working on. We announced it at the SunSpec annual member meeting. It's another topic that our members were very excited to hear about and see coming up now in 2025. So yeah, let's wrap up there. I don't think I was brief enough, so let's continue on, I think. So looking ahead to 2025, I'm going to share some time with the chairman of the SunSpec Alliance and CEO of DER Security Corp, Tom Tansey, to look into his crystal ball and provide us some insights and comments of what's coming forward. And of course, I've already teased up quite a few activities that are going on in SunSpec as well, and I'll highlight those again. But want to open it up to Tom to provide a few thoughts on looking ahead to 2025.
All right, well, great. Thank you so much, Dylan, and thank you to our audience for participating with us today. The main thing I'm looking forward in 2025 is to really seeing this organization blossom. I think Dylan and his team have done a fantastic job over the course of the past year to really up SunSpec's game in terms of digitalization of the SunSpec Alliance generally. I think what we're going to see with the artificial intelligence to answer your questions, the full text search of the SunSpec specification database are going to really accelerate adoption and really accelerate understanding, more importantly, of the SunSpec information models and their impact they can have in the distributed energy world. So as I look ahead to 2025, many of the things that I see on the horizon are really kind of continuations of trends that have started in prior times. And we spent a lot of time talking about cybersecurity, but I think we're going to spend more time on this topic. Now, in the United States, our policy with regard to cybersecurity for distributed energy resources, in my estimation, has lagged behind the other parts of the developed world. I think that SunSpec, largely through SunSpec's efforts and our other colleagues here on many different organizations pushing forward on this, that we will see a breakthrough in the United States with regard to cybersecurity requirements and potentially regulations. And so, why is that? Well, with the changing of the guard here at the administrative level, the highest level in our country, the presidential administration is just in well with the changing technological scene happening here. Cybersecurity concerns pervade our everyday life. Our adversaries have not missed this, and have clearly identified the electric power grid and distributed energy resources as an important target in a way to sow chaos. And so as a result of that, we have to pay attention to this. And as well, in the European Union, the NIS2 initiative, which kicked into gear last year, that's going to accelerate this year. So where there's going to be compliance requirements for device manufacturers coming up in this spring. And I think that's going to drive a lot of behaviors as well. And so why is that? Well, one thing, the fact that the European Union is imposing requirements for cybersecurity, these very important baseline requirements. Well, guess what? The United States, in terms of the insiders that are pushing for what to do here, are highly aligned with NIS2 goals. In other words, let's cover the basics. Let's change passwords. Let's get multi-factor authentication into play. Let's log events. Let's manage firmware updates. Let's pay attention to how far away from what countries different firmware updates are coming into. And I think that these are trends that it's going to be hard to avoid. And so SunSpec's going to be part and parcel of that. And then related to cybersecurity, today was actually a very important day for SunSpec. So we rolled out our upgraded public key infrastructure in 2024, and today we added 3 new accounts. Effectively, manufacturers now, they're able to print and make digital certificates under the SunSpec public key infrastructure for 2030.5, and serving as sub-authorities, MICAs as they're called, under the SunSpec route. And those 3 companies are Lion Energy, Generac, and Delta. So congratulations. That key ceremony just took place today. So your credentials are properly stored in a mountain somewhere in the middle of the country. So we're really super excited about that we've been able to upgrade that service and create something that is portable, I believe, from country to country as different jurisdictions, whether it's Australia, Italy, Germany, whatever, as people start to become aware of public key infrastructure, and quite often they'll say, all right, well, we need to have the root of trust in our own borders. The solution that SunSpec has come up with is transportable and useful in that area. So that's a really important point. Secondly, vehicle to grid integration. Yeah, electric vehicles are a hot button topic. They're a political topic. They're also a reality. There's no question that we are remaking transportation through electricity, and the sales are going through the roof. In terms of the public infrastructure for charging in the United States, again, we serve as a laggard. We're in the top 3 in terms of buying vehicles, but so far most of the drivers of those vehicles have chosen to charge at home. That's in terms of the passenger vehicles. However, what's happening here is that we're seeing transportation and logistics take on electric vehicles. So, you can expect an Amazon van in your neighborhood that will be powered by solar power. And so all of their competitors are following suit. So that's a major trend. And so SunSpec plays a role in this. Our standards that we support, IEEE 23.5, is built in and now effectively part and parcel of the SAE 3072 standard, which governs all charging for the majority of the vehicles out there. And then the SAE 3068 standard, which is for medium duty and heavy duty charging, uses the SunSpec Modbus interface as its communication vehicle. And so we're going to be spending time on that this year as well, as we roll out that standard, which has applications not only in the United States, but in other parts of the world as well. So that is a really important initiative. I guess what I want to kind of re-emphasize a point that Dylan brought up. Now, another topic is UL 1741B testing and IEEE 1547 compatibility. So we and others put, I think, an extraordinary amount of effort into identifying the challenges and making those challenges known publicly and expressing the implications of not meeting those challenges, what that will actually mean to the adoption and the rollout and the electrification of society, and having companies and countries meet all of their goals. They're profound. So if we continue on our present course, where we do not have very good adherence to IEEE 1547, what that means for implementers is that there's going to be a lot of services required to integrate, debug, test, etc., which is the very reason why these standards were created in the first place, to get rid of all that NRE. If we wanted to do NRE, we would just stick with proprietary interfaces and let it be a free-for-all. And so I think in 2025, for better or for worse, we're going to keep grinding on this topic and bringing it to the forefront, and putting even a sharper point on what the financial implications of incompatibility is, and what the security implications of incompatibility to IEEE 1547 portends for the grid. So this is a very big topic, and we're not gonna let our guard down. We're gonna just keep on going with this. All right. Now another initiative, because the proliferation of solar across the globe, I mean, there's no denying it. It continues to grow at a compounded rate, 25% per year. It's reaching more and more countries. It's pervading more business sectors. And in addition to securing these things and making them run optimally, we also need to make them safe. And so the SunSpec pioneered this rapid shutdown standard. Well, we are going to up our game. And so we have announced a new initiative at our annual meeting called DC Fire Stop. And DC Fire Stop, what it will do is it'll take the basic concept of providing safety for these solar arrays, but make it an international affair, because safety is required everywhere. And it will also be applied to larger and larger scale systems, because it turns out that the safety concerns that you have on the rooftop are not dissimilar to what you see in a utility scale. In fact, the safety concerns are exacerbated in a large scale system, but the fundamental protections aren't necessarily mandated there. But however, if you enlighten an individual just because their insurance carriers told them so, or because they realized in their own safety practices something else was needed, are looking at these mechanisms for how to rapidly curtail production or energy collection from these solar arrays, so that both firefighters and operators can get in and touch the equipment without fear of electrocution. And so we'll be launching that. And so I want to acknowledge Changyu Du with Gatesy. And so he is helping us to take a lead on this initiative. And so Chang-Yu, if you are available, would you like to say a few words, please do so.
Yes, I'd like to put some effort this year on SunSpec platform to on this initiative to help the industry have some kind of solutions to address this issue. Okay, this is just at the beginning. Welcome colleagues come to contact Tom or Daniel or myself to work together. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chang-Yu. So and we had a really good presentation at the annual meeting. So that's another topic. All right. And I'm going on here. So I just wanted to close with one thing, and that is professional development. So we've had a not a talent shortage, but an information shortage. We have very many talented people that work in this business. They're just not informed. And it's hard to stay informed because our industry is undergoing unprecedented technological change. We have our finger on the pulse, and we have a hard time keeping track of it now. So that this is what we do all day, so that we are able to communicate to the industry what we see are the most important things. But there's a lot going on now. Of everything going on, there are going to be a short list of things that SunSpec members need to pay attention to at any particular time about changing regulations and so forth. Cybersecurity is a big one. So finally, I think professional development is going to be one of the key pillars for 2025. And so SunSpec Alliance has put together a fantastic set of curriculum, online courses that are all free to SunSpec members. And I believe that there are over 20 of these courses available and more in the pipeline. So I encourage you to take advantage of your SunSpec memberships and get yourself a portal account and enroll in these courses and encourage your people to do the same. So, and these are for marketing people, for engineers, for people that are working in the field with customers. There is information that pertains to your job that'll make you more effective advocate for distributed energy and for the important aspects of distributed energy that we see coming out now, which happens to be cybersecurity. All right. So with that, that's what my crystal ball says, and I'll put it back to you, Dylan.
Thanks so much, Tom. And really appreciate the comments. And also, we've teased up a ton of issues already, and there's more. In 2025, we're also going to, and this has been going on at the end of 2024 as well, but we're working on updates to the SunSpec Modbus for storage application, developing new models. There will be an upcoming webinar on that topic as well. We have intentions to open up a SunSpec open source program, a new partnership with KNX to address load management. Very early days, so I'm just going to leave it at that with a teaser, but you can expect to see a ton more webinars and chances to engage. But the number one most important next upcoming chance to engage is at InterSolar and Energy Storage North America. And so we hope you'll all be there. We are working with them. We are producing 2 conference sessions. One on DER and solar plus storage integration, unlocking value through interoperability. So that's hitting on all the core cylinders for SunSpec, as well as securing the future cybersecurity strategies for DER systems. So another one of the most important topics. There will be many other very good, high quality conference sessions throughout the meeting. So we really encourage you to use our discount code when registering for InterSolar and Energy Storage North America to get 20% off in your conference pass, and I believe free. If you go to the next slide, the details are there. Yes, register with free expo access and 20% off the conference pass using SunSpec at registration. So we really hope to see you there. Do schedule some meetings with us on our calendar, either before or in person. We'll have a booth there. And so we look forward to seeing you all there. And with that, I want to take the last 7 minutes, try to provide more time for Q&A, but open the door. Erin, I think we've got some written questions. Are you going to read some of those off?
All right. We answered a lot of the questions that we had in the chat. So I will give people the opportunity to come off mute and ask us questions in a panel discussion here.
Fantastic.
You can also ask questions in the chat.
And one FAQ, I know, yes, this meeting is being recorded. We'll provide that, and the slides will be sent out as well. All right. While you think of some questions, I would like to introduce Krista Simicic. She will discuss, she is from the IESNA, and she will discuss her conference. Please, Krista.
Thank you. Hi, thank you, Erin. Hi, everybody. So yes, I am Krista. I am the digital editor for InterSolar and Energy Storage North America. I'd like to thank today's speakers for this very helpful recap of 2024, as well as what we can expect in 2025. As we all know, there's still a lot more to discuss, which is why I'm so excited that SunSpec will be joining us at our flagship 2025 show to lead the 2 conference sessions. Like Dylan said, we're offering 20% off conference passes or free exhibit hall access to everybody who joined the webinar today. So again, just use the promo code SunSpec to reserve the discount. And if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to our team at isnainfo@divcom.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Krista.
Thank you, Krista.
Hey, Dylan. And Dylan, I have a question for you that I'd like some clarification on. So this CSIP revision seems like a pretty big deal.
Yes.
And so I saw in the order that SCE, PG&E, SDG&E, the 3 big California investor-owned utilities in California, are required by this order to participate in the revision and in the specification development, test specification development. So what I'm wondering is, how is that going to work within the SunSpec Alliance, who's responsible for test specification development?
Yeah. So it'll be managed very similarly to any other SunSpec work group in accordance with the SunSpec member agreement and bylaws. We will be opening it up to some non-members with more limited ability to vote and such. So to have official voting rights on any sort of contentious issue, you will need to be a member of the Alliance, but we will be opening up for non-members to observe and monitor the ongoing activities. So we're going to coincide the launch of the CSIP test procedures update work group right at the same time as IEEE is launching the work group to begin the updates of the core CSIP standard. I believe that, is IEEE up, because they have, IEEE has 2 methods of operating, where it's either you have to be a member under a company IEEE membership or an individual one, and different work groups operate under one or the other requirement. Tom, do you know which one that will be required for this initiative?
The rumor has that it'll be the individual process, but actually I believe Robbie Simpson, who's the chair of the 23.5 spec, is on the line. So I know, Robbie, if you know about that. But I believe it's the individual.
Okay. Well, regardless, we'll be coinciding the launch of the SunSpec work group right around the same time. There will be a webinar announcing, providing more details of changes that need to be made, how to participate, and yeah, to be an official participant, to make edits and have voting rights, you'll need to come on board and join the Alliance. And we'll see all of our members there, as well as the utilities and grid operators. And very important very important issue, and it's a good opportunity for SunSpec. You know, in our traditional way of operating, we've had fantastic success of driving basically 100% consensus on any standards development work. Because of the importance of this issue, I'm excited to see if there will be a challenge, because I'm excited to step up to the challenge of something more, something bigger like this. So,
All right, thank you.
Looking forward to it.
I have a question. Chris Connor here in Monterey, California. I'm trying to register using the SunSpec credential, and I'm being given an error. It says you cannot change. The code's been issued already. I've tried several times. Can you give me some light?
Krista, can you assist with that?
Yeah, Chris, we will connect you with Krista, and we will connect you by email.
Thank you very much. And I just put a copy of the code.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks for sending that, and sorry for the confusion. We'll get to the bottom of that for you. We're unfortunately not the ones who are running the registration page there. So oh, Krista, you're there.
Yeah, I'm letting our
Okay.
team know right now.
Great.
Great.
I'm glad that could get solved here. So thank you, everyone. I know that not all of the questions have been answered today, but like we said, you can book a time with us or just send us an email. Hopefully today's session gave you some valuable insights into the latest developments in DER and what's on the horizon for 2025. So you will have access to these slides and a recording, including the transcript. You can respond to that email with any questions, or you can book a time with us. Thank you again for joining us today, and stay energized. We will see you next time.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, everybody.